Hey friends, I have already finished part 1 of Tress of the Emerald Sea. I am loving this already. Number 1, Tress collects cups. That is delightful. That is delightful. I love that. And she's on this island with an ocean all around her, but the ocean is made of like spores, and the spores can't get wet or they're like turn into crazy vines and shit. How? I don't... Has there ever been a more creatively diverse person than Brandon Sanderson? Because, listen, it's one thing to make, Star Wars. It's another thing to make Middle-earth, where it's like a thing. Whereas Brandon, especially going from Sunlit Man to Tress of the Emerald Sea, a planet that's all based around sun, and it burns things alive, and then their souls get turned into sun hearts, and they're used to propel engines and crazy shit. And then you have a little island with a spore of ocean, and it can't get wet. Just the fact that both of those ideas came from the same brain is absolutely wild to me, and fantastic. So it can't get wet, and also, like, salt and silver, like, kills spores and counteracts it. I love this. And Charlie is this son of the Duke, and he's this groundskeeper, and he's just, like, the sweetest little guy. And him and Tress love each other, and it's so just, like, wholesome and, like, pure, and it's just delightful. And so different from everything else Cosmere, because somebody's broken somewhere, but not these two. They're just, kids that are falling in love. And I love it. I love it. She did mention that the tin cup that she has, which me, anytime there's metal anywhere, I'm like, ugh. And he mentioned that the writing was an Iriali. Someone please remind me what that is, because I've absolutely heard of the Iriali people before, but I don't know from where. I don't remember. So somebody tell me that. And he mentioned that, like, the Iriali people disappeared, like, 300 years ago? Or maybe he was just telling that story for her because it's more, like, fanciful as to how the cup came to her. I don't know. I love them both. And then the Duke, it's just like, peasants, my son. We're leaving. My son's old enough. We got to find him a wife. And Tress is like, oh, no. And Charlie's like, don't worry. I'm going to bore the shit out of him. So no princess is going to want to marry me. It's going to be fine. And he keeps getting weirder and weirder. And he's like sending Tress cups back, which is just the best. It's the best. And Hoyd even stopped by. I will say one thing that I really love about this story is it feels a lot like The Hobbit. In the sense that The Hobbit, for anyone that's read it, feels like Tolkien is telling you like a campfire story. And this feels like Brandon Sanderson, through Hoyd, is telling you another story, and I love that. But anyway, so the Duke comes back after like a year, and he has a new heir, and it's his nephew, and he's like Gaston, he's jacked, and Hoyd, Brandon, the person in charge here, said a line that made me laugh out loud, and he said that he had a jaw that was so straight, it made other men wonder if they were. Poetry. I mean, just like the fact that the jaw is so straight, it made other men question if they were. That's come on, who thinks of that? And then he tried to play it off like, oh, there was an accident, which I'm not buying for a second. Not for a second. He's like, oh, there was an accident, and also my nephew, isn't he so cool, and he's so strong, and he's so handsome, and he's a war hero that got 10,000 of his men killed, which I was like, it doesn't sound like he was very good at his job if he lost 10,000 of his men, but, I guess to each their own. But I guess he sent Charlie to the sorceress, and was like, well, it's been a couple days, he's probably dead, let me get a new heir, and like, just switch up Indiana Jones, my heirs out. And Tress was like, you know what? I'm gonna go get him. This is great. I love this. I love the kind of reverse, because normally it's like, a regular, stable boy falls in love with the princess, and then she has to go whatever, and he has to go fight for her and get her back. But it's switched. It's a girl who has to go get her prince. And, part 1 down, I already love it. I've now finished part 2. And, I, as someone who absolutely hates asking for help with anything, I love the scene where Tress's dad goes to the bar, is playing darts, and like asks for help without actually asking for help. That's the dream. That is the dream. Tress pretending to be the inspector was hilarious. I loved every bit of that. Did not see that coming. And now she was in the hull of this ship, and there's a talking rat. All right, I'm down. While like Hoyt is narrating it, that's been established already. Hoyt said, "This is more twisted than a librarian's love life." Again, phenomenal. But then the ship gets attacked by pirates, which is so cool. And the fact that they had like water in the cannonballs to make it like way worse, and the guys are getting like shot and stuff, and their blood is going into the spores and the spores are reacting to it. Who thinks of this stuff? It's so good. And then this guy attacks Tress, and Tress hits him with her pewter cup, the really heavy one. What is that doing there? Like, did she bring it with her, or was it already on the ship? I might have missed that one. But then the captain of the pirates is called the Crow, and it's a woman, which is so cool. I love me some subverted expectations. And they're like, "Hey, if she lasts 15 minutes, you can put her back on the ship." And they were like, "Oh, okay, cool." She lasts 15 minutes. They pull her back up. She goes, "Yeah, toss her overboard again." They're like, "What? You said if she lasted 15 minutes, we could bring her in." It's like, "I did. And you did. Chuck her." And she's like, and just starts scrubbing the deck. Wonderful. Now she's on a pirate ship. This is great. I have finished part 3 and got to meet more of the crew members, which is so cool. And mind you, Treasure Planet is probably my favorite Disney movie of all time. Very, very close second is Hercules. And so I love when we get like pirate crews, and they're all so different. They have different jobs, and it's in this kind of like heightened reality thing, and like the spores and all that. It's so awesome. And Hoyt is a member of this crew. He's like the cabin boy, and he said that like he was cursed by the sorceress, and that she like took his sense of taste. But you think it's like literal like taste buds taste, but no, it's like fashion and like the way he sees himself and like taste of identity, like preference, I guess. Which is interesting because I'm getting a lot of, Night Watcher vibes from Stormlight, where you get like a boon and a curse kind of thing. Except this, I guess you just get a curse. And I don't know how that works. I'm interested to see if there was like he came to her for something and she cursed him, or like she just cursed him because she could. I don't know, but it's interesting. Calling all of the crew members Doug is hilarious. It's so good. The fact that the pirates only steal but they never kill is a really cool idea. I don't know if I have experienced that in other stories, where it's like, because she meant it's like a contest. Like pirates go and they rob each other and everything, but then they don't kill people. But the captain here, Captain Crow, is like, she wants to be known as a dead runner. Like they kill pirates, or they kill anyone, I guess, which is strange, very strange. Dr. Ulam is a Khandra. For sure, he eats dead bodies and he's like trading parts. Like he's a Khandra. So that's kind of wild. Like why is there a Khandra here? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, the Khandra were like created by the Lord Ruler on Scadrial. And like wait. Nah, that can't be it. That can't be it. I was going to say, what Khandra do I know, like, isn't on Scadrial? I mean, I know of one Khandra who was sent off of Scadrial. And she technically could be, whatever representation of gender she wanted to, because she was a Khandra, is a Khandra. But, Also, Ulam, Dr. Ulam, and Ulim, the Spren, too close. Too close, and I don't like it. Captain also mentioned something about like blood binding the crew to the ship, and listen, blood binding sounds an awful lot like a curse to me. It's also mentioned that like the Crow is always drinking, like from this canteen. I'm guessing it's like a water canteen, so like that seems kind of important, but also incredibly dangerous to be like drinking water around an ocean of spores. Also, everyone's afraid of her and saying that she could kill them all. like, at any point? This captain seems to me like, she could be something else. This feels significant. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but and the fact that she wants Tress to like leave. Well, at that point, she wanted Tress to leave so that she can spread the rumor that the Crow's song is a bunch of dead runners for whatever reason. So she's like, we got to leave one survivor, which the last ship that she blew up and killed everyone, the survivor didn't survive. So, yeah, the fact that she wants them all to be known as that, and now because of it, the crew is like stuck on this ship, that sucks. That's not good. But hey, Tress made a deal with her now, and she's a pirate, and she's going to be the new Sprouter. So, interested to see how this goes, because she already took some spores to the face, and Ulam, was able to, counteract it. But, yeah, I don't know. There's something up with this Captain Crow. I don't know what it is, but it's something. I have finished chapter 31, and we got some catching up to do, and, I might have a theory, but I'm not super confident in it, but we'll get to it. I love this kind of, idiot Hoyd. It's so good. But it was mentioned that the captain traded to get him on her crew, and traded a different crew to get Hoyd, which is really interesting, and I'm curious as to why, because it doesn't seem like he's useful to her at all, but, yeah, because he was cursed, I suppose, that she wanted him, which honestly made me think originally that maybe the captain was the sorceress, but now I don't think that anymore. Whew, change of lighting. Also, Hoyd stopping in the middle of his story to talk about, she stopped and reconsidered. That is amazing. More people should stop and think for a second and comment, and just Hoyd going off about how he wished more heroes stopped and thought for a second, and it would save them so much time. That was just really funny. And then she's talking to him, and he's just like, yeah, I ate a whole watermelon once, and it gave me diarrhea. And they're like, okay, Hoyd. I love this. He also mentioned that socks with sandals are monstrous, and I agree. And so there were midnight spores in a little container underneath the bed in Tress's new room, which is interesting. And then they meet this other crew, and they're about to fight back, and the captain shoots herself in the head, and it doesn't do anything because she's full of spores. And she was constantly, the reason she's drinking water all the time is because she was watering the spores inside of her. That's crazy. And so cool. And then Ulam and Hoyd were talking about different kinds of spores and stuff, and he mentions aether. The different spores of the aether is the power of it, which is really interesting because I could be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure the aether is what Twin Soul was doing with the Ghost Bloods and stuff. So pretty neat. And now they were talking about Zysis or whatever. It's a dragon that lives underneath the Crimson Sea in a palace and has for 300 years. That is so cool! I love this. I hope we get to meet him. How cool would that be? How's she gonna get to the bottom? And there's a dragon there. Assuming the story's real. Maybe it's not. But now, and this is uncharacteristic for me, and I have no proof of this, but I don't like theorizing because I'm always wrong. But if I'm right, I kind of don't want to be right. But it's I lose either way. But Huck, this rat, this talking rat, they mention it's a familiar. They're okay, well, familiar, is a thing. But he starts talking about he's yeah, I'm a familiar, whatever. And then he said that people that are cursed can't talk about their curses. And you got to find a way around it to admit that they're cursed. And he said he was cursed by the sorceress. I'm okay. Okay, so this rat is cursed by the sorceress. Okay. And he mentioned that he comes from a place that's very similar to where Tress is from. And he mentioned that his family or whatever took him away from there. And also, he's very fond of Tress. Like, wants to be around her all the time. I don't know how the sorceress's curses work. I don't know if this is like a cultivation type of thing, or to what extent the curses work, because, Hoyd lost his sense of taste, which I guess is a little more inclined, or more in line with, like losing your memories, or never getting old, or you're either smart or you're compassionate, one of the two, where those are like mainly mental stuff. So, I don't know, like, how drastic a curse can be. Or if it can, I don't know, turn people into things that aren't people. If you're picking up what I'm laying down here. I'm just saying, a lot of this is starting to kind of looking like a little something. Looking like maybe somebody, isn't dead and is instead a rat. I don't know. I have no proof. We'll find out. This book is awesome. I just finished part 4, and Tress went to try and convince Captain Crow to be like, hey, we should go visit the Crimson Sea. That'd be kind of cool. And she's like, oh yeah, maybe we should. And immediately it's like, oh no. But right away backfired, because she just realized that Captain Crow is going to trade her to the dragon there to heal the spores situation she's got going on. Which does make me think, I wonder how the spores got there in the first place. Because if she wants to be healed from it, that means, I assume, she was either cursed by the sorceress or something else happened. But I feel like if something else had happened before, like if it was an accident, she would have just died. So maybe she also got cursed by the sorceress, and this is like, she was cursed to carry spores in her body, perhaps. And she's like, well, this sucks. So then she wants to go to the dragon to be like, hey, heal me, please. I'll give you this girl who's really good around spores. Immediate backfire, Tress. We gotta learn sometimes. This is the way that we do that. So, hey, on to part 5. So I just finished chapter 47, and I've been thinking a lot now as far as like time-wise, like chronologically when things take place, especially because I'm so like close to the finish line of my first read through of the Cosmere. And Ulam keeps coming into my head because he's a Khandra. And the Khandra, correct me if I'm wrong, were created by the Lord Ruler, which is kind of insane to think about, that like from, Mistborn, really just the first book, the Lord Ruler, to now having finished all of Mistborn, all of Stormlight, now in the secret novels, and there's still Khandra running around. So I'm curious as to like what generation was he? And how did he end up on the ship? And like, yeah, just everything about Ulam. I'm like fascinated by Ulam. Also, entirely unrelated, in the real world, I've been watching like a shit ton of videos about the World Hoppers Ball, because I'm going to the next one. And the guy that plays Hoyd at the World Hopper Ball for all like the Dragonsteel Nexus performances, I've realized that the speech pattern that he does as Wit, as Hoyd, is more of an Ulam thing, and Ulam also kind of sounds like the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland, but he's got that sort of, video voice thing that he does where it's quite musical, but he's not sure where he's going to go with it. And I'm like, oh, wait a second, because I've watched so many videos of of the World Hopper Ball, and I'm like, is that Hoyd or is that Ulam? So, which I guess technically it's Hoyd telling the story of Tress, and he's doing an approximation of Ulam. But yeah, something about that is like, ooh, and I've just been spiraling around Ulam, but yeah, he's really cool. Anyway, onward. I just finished chapter 50, and I'm going to be honest with you. I think Captain Crow is one of my favorite villains in the Cosmere. She's so ruthless, but, like, I don't know, the fact that she's, like, infested with spores, and she, like, wants to be a dead runner while her crew doesn't, and, like, is just, oh, she's the worst, but, like, in a really cool way, you know? I mean, this whole thing where, like, the crew is getting ready to mutiny, and she's using Midnight Essence, which, oh shit, didn't know she could also do that, and she, like, is spying on their meeting, sends Laggert to be like, bring them in here. And she's like, hey, here are some guns, shoot Laggert, and I'll give up. And Fort immediately is like, oh, and he goes for it, she kicks it out, breaks his nose with her elbow, and she can't hit the side of a barn, which is hilarious. But this whole thing, like, she broke Fort's, like, little, you know, speak and spell. Poor guy. Because now he can't communicate. Like, that is, outside of death, like, the worst thing you could do to him. And he's so nice. So that sucks. And she was like, yeah, no, we're already here. Chucks a letter to the dragon, was like, let's get rid of Tress and get these spores out of me. I'm so excited to meet a dragon. Like, I know cultivation's also a dragon, but, like, I don't know, like a dragon, you know? I have no idea what to expect, but I'm pumped. I have finished part 5, and that was awesome. So good. First off, got to see a real dragon, which is super cool. They also mentioned dragon steel, and I was like, oh, I've heard that before. The dragons in this have 6 legs, which is really interesting, because normally, you know, you got, like, the 4-legged, you know, English folklore dragons, or, like, from Shrek, or you have the wyverns, which is, you know, like Game of Thrones. But yeah, 6 legs. Interesting. I laughed out loud when when Crow was like, this is the sacrifice that I brought you. And then Tress was like, this is the sacrifice I brought you. And the dragon was like, okay, well, make your cases, see what happens. And it's hilarious that they're both like, well, people love her. And it's like, oh, well, she's awful. And they just keep going back and forth. And ultimately, it just ends with Tress being like, I'm going to be an absolute menace if you keep me here. And he's like, oh, yeah, I don't think I want that. And come to find out, the captain is basically doomed by being a spore eater, because he said that, you know, he could heal her, but it would only work if she's, like, in close proximity to him, which is really interesting. So ultimately, kind of worked out. And then he asked for, like, you know, what she wanted for payment. And she's like, I don't know. You said you're not going to help me on my quest, so can I have, like, 3 small presents instead of a big one? And she got glasses for Anne because she can't hit anything, which, again, hilarious. She got a new board to write on for Fort, and then she got a letter with Soleil's dad's location. This book is wonderful, and Tress is just, wow, such a breath of fresh air. She's delightful. And now Tress is the captain, which is so cool. And she mentioned another interesting thing. She's like, you know, I'm going to be in the captain's quarters sleeping. Don't wake me up until you see Death himself with his nails in his eyes. So, like, even on this planet, Marsh is known. That's crazy. But man, this book is so good. Just finished chapter 60, and I knew it. I told you, I knew it. I had vibes, I had feelings, and yep. But let's back up a little bit. So the scene with Laggert being like, you know what? Just shoot me. This is getting too much. I know you're waiting for me to get calm and shoot me. She's like, what are you talking? I mean, if you want punishment, you can go to the brig, I guess. And he's like, oh, for real? You're not going to shoot me? Great. Love it. Hoyd threw all of the food overboard because Huck told him to. This, like, dumb Hoyd is really funny because actual Hoyd is like, oh no. And then come to find out, talking to Ulam was like, I'm pretty sure Hoyd got cursed on purpose. I don't know why, but I'm pretty sure he did, because Hoyd, he's usually on top of things, but yeah, he definitely did. So I'm curious as to why. Also, when Huck brought Tress back to the sorceress, he said that the sorceress wanted him to come back. Still a little unclear as to why, but I'm sure probably the next chapter is going to tell me. But the sorceress, she's an Elantrian, right? Because she talked about there's like Andor symbols on the hallway leading to her office, and she like glowed. But also, why does she like to torture people? Why is she by herself? And she was like on a laptop playing solitaire? Okay. Random. Strange. And then she traded Tress's 2 cups, her favorite ones, for Charlie. And then as they were leaving, she's like, this isn't Charlie. He's the rat. I knew it. I have officially finished Tress of the Emerald Sea. There will be a full review video coming later today. But that last bit was crazy. Fort has like FaceTime now on his iPad, which was kind of cool. And Hoyd. And you guys have been with me on this journey for quite some time. Almost a year, really. And Hoyd's pretty cool. Which, listen, if you've been here for this whole ride, them are some strong words coming from your old pal. And, what a power move. That was awesome. Tress showing up and being stuck against the wall, and they're like, we need to get Hoyd here. And also, Charlie being like, okay, well, I'm not going to make it in time. I'm going to get in the pewter cup, have the cat chase me and knock me down the stairs, and I can go and unlock the door because Hoyd just needs to come back. And he made the bet, literally a bet. And I think it's all but confirmed without saying the word. The sorceress is an Elantrian. And the bet was like, I'm going to curse you, and you got to find your way back here. But you're going to be so dumb, you're never going to be able to figure it out. And she's about to, like, curse Tress. And Hoyd just, like, you know, that, what's the name of the spell in Harry Potter? When they're trying to, like, stupefy you and stuff, and you just, like, block it. He basically did that with, like, Andor magic. Which is kind of wild, all things considered. And so he was able to do that. My thing is, like, so the sorceress was an Elantrian, is an Elantrian. Why is she so hateful and mean and, like, terrible? And also, how is she able to curse people? Because, you know, I remember Elantris with the Andor, like, you know, drawing shapes in the air and whatnot, and is able to do some kind of crazy stuff. But, like, she straight up is, like, cursing people. Can all Elantrians do that? Why was she able to do it? And just everything about it, I'm like, whoa, okay, interesting. But yeah, I mean, the book ends with Tress is captain of the 2 cups. They got a new ship, which is cool. She goes and picks up her parents. Charlie basically sends a middle finger to his dad, which is great. And, like, what a wonderful, delightful book. Like, this was awesome. And Brandon Sanderson, in the audiobook, he reads the postscript and the acknowledgments, which I thought was a really cool touch. Like, I enjoyed that a lot. Also, the army of, like, gold statue men, soldiers, whatever, big Warbreaker vibes. And, like, also, he mentioned they, like, were awakened. So I'm like, okay, we got some breaths stuff happening. So it was an Elantrian who could do Andor magic, but also could use breaths to awaken things. Which is kind of wild. Because now I'm starting to see, like, I knew Hoyd can do, like, a bunch of different magics from different planets, but apparently so can this Elantrian. And so, yeah, the Cosmere just keeps getting crazier and crazier. But, yeah, what a book. That was wonderful. I really enjoyed it. Full review coming later. Okay, I have officially finished Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. Let's talk about it. This book was so good. It was so good. It was so interesting. It was so kind of different, but also, like, fit within the Cosmere, which I thought was really cool. I had a blast. It was so nice. And, like, yeah, it just felt good. You know, and, like, there's, like, moments of tension that felt real. But the other thing about this book that kind of really has stuck with me is just how, and this is no surprise coming from Brandon Sanderson, but just how creative it was. Having oceans made of spores that you can't get wet. And having, like, you know, the tectonic plates kind of move the ocean, so they're able to sail that, and then different types of spores and different seas. There was a real dragon in this one, which was so great. There was humor. The crew was great. All the characters were really cool. The whole Hoyd, listen, in some ways, maybe it's just because I'm more Cosmere aware. In some ways, I feel like Tress is just as much a main character in this book as Hoyd is. And that was cool. That's something, I mentioned it in the last video. Hoyd's pretty cool. I did not see that coming at all, from me specifically. But I'm like, no, I could get down with Hoyd. I am interested because I have not looked anything up, obviously. I don't know where chronologically this story takes place. Like, did this happen before the stuff that he did in Mistborn and the stuff that he did in Stormlight, or did it happen after? I don't know. Still a little loose on that. But Tress was awesome. I love that she collects cups. I loved all the crew members. Charlie was sweet. The Captain Crow, was so cool. I love that she was like a ruthless captain that made her crew become dead runners. Like, they didn't even sign up for it. She just kind of like forced them into it. And then she's infested with spores, and she has to keep like drinking water to kind of keep it at bay. I loved the switch when they got to the dragon, and she's like, "Hey, I got you a sacrifice. Heal me." And Tress being like, "I got you a sacrifice," and then they're arguing over who's gonna stay. Great. This book was so good. I loved it. I really did. The more I think about it, the more like just everything about it. The crew, the ship, the spores, the moons, all the different moons like are what drop the spores into the world. And then the sorceress being an Elantrian is pretty wild. And now I'm learning from you guys that Elantrians are like the craziest, most powerful Cosmere peeps in the Cosmere, which I didn't know that. So that was kind of wild. But yeah, this was, I also really like this because it felt like Brandon was kind of flexing a little bit, you know, because he told the story from Hoyd's point of view, but is also a storyteller within a storyteller telling a story. And he's talking about little things here and there. Like, I gotta find it. I loved what he said about memories, because he said that memories, like, and how we are our memories, but memories can change over time. Like, I gotta find that, because that's one of my favorite parts of this book. But yeah, I loved it. It felt like Brandon's version of The Hobbit, because The Hobbit was this like kind of really cool epic adventure, but it also had a little kind of like wink to the audience as well. You know, like there's a moment in The Hobbit where Bilbo finds the ring, and Tolkien literally says like, "Oh, and then he got this ring, but we'll talk about that later." And you're just like, "Oh!" And I kind of got those sort of vibes from this as well. But yeah, I loved it. This was so good. So good. I would honestly recommend this to anyone, even people who like aren't into the Cosmere or like high fantasy and stuff. I just thought it was great. I love the characters. I love the relationships. I loved everything about it. This book was awesome. Next up is Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. I know nothing about this book. I know that supposedly there's a romance kind of to it, which, you know, I could have gathered, but I've not read the back. I'm going in blind the same way I went in with Tress. I'm so excited for this. And then I just have one more book until I'm caught up with the Cosmere, which is insane to say. But yeah, Tress, 2 thumbs up. Absolutely loved it. Next up is Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. Here we go.